Are NBA players tired of Pat Riley?
Who cares? I'm the boss, and nobody can tell me what to...
That's right. Go take a nap, old man. Anyways, this video is not about that Scoop B report from yesterday, where if y'all didn't see, there was a report that came out yesterday that said Giannis Antetokounmpo isn't feeling playing for Pat Riley and therefore the Miami Heat per Scoop B. Now, I actually just saw that 5 Reasons posted a podcast about this same topic, so I'll have to listen to it later. But I listened to like the first, minutes of that pod. And in that first minute, they said that they're not going to mention the guy who wrote the article. And I am, because I'm not afraid of Scoop B. Because quite frankly, I think he's a bum. If you're not familiar with him, he's one of those reporters who puts out a ton of reports, and inevitably he'll hit on a couple of them, and then he claims like he's some all-knowing NBA insider. I remember when he really got his claim to fame, it was like back in 2014, because one of the reports that he was lucky to get correct was that LeBron James was leaving the Heat and going back to Cleveland, which of course did happen. But the thing is, majority of Scoop B's reports are wrong. People just don't remember them because they're wrong. And if you need more reasoning for why Scoop B is a bum and this report is BS, well, let's read the article ourselves. This sentiment isn't new. NBA legend Xavier McDaniel, NBA legend, get the fuck. Now, I did actually read the article because y'all know one of my biggest problems with society is people just read a headline and run with it. They don't actually check out the full material source for context. And when I did that, well, I saw that this report, again, is 100% speculation. There's no sources. There's no anonymous quote from a GM. It's just a bunch of speculation.
Hey, it's me, Pat Riley, and I've woken up from my slumber because I realized you didn't like the video and subscribe yet. So make sure to do that for me so I can get some rest. Thank you.
So while I don't believe that Scoop B has sources that Giannis isn't feeling Miami, I do think there's some credence to the idea that maybe some players don't love playing for Pat Riley. Now, this is something that's actually been a talking point for a while. Even about 5 months ago on the OGs podcast with our guys Mike Miller and Udonis Haslem, they did a mailbag episode, and I asked this exact question, and here's what they had to say.
Do you think the toughness associated with the Heat culture sometimes has a negative effect when trying to acquire players in free agency? The answer is absolutely not.
Yeah, only if you're lazy, and if you're lazy, then you ain't trying to win anyway. Yeah. And we don't want your lazy ass anyway. So, I mean, for me, I don't think so at all. Now, that's why we make it clear, and it's very clear about the culture that it is not for everybody. We're not saying this is the only way. Yep. This is just the Miami Heat way. This is our way.
So, of course, they both refute the idea because Mike Miller and Udonis Haslem embody Heat culture. Like, truthfully, I know a lot of people know Udonis Haslem, of course, but a lot of the younger kids watching this video, they might not know who Mike Miller was. Maybe they started watching Heat basketball in the Jimmy Butler era, or maybe even the Dion Waiters era, which, God help you if that was your first taste of Heat basketball. Somehow you stuck through it and you're still a Heat fan. I do respect you. But Mike Miller was a dog. Like, he had so many back problems, even from his first year in Miami, that the amounts of medicine and treatment that he had to do just to play was so intense. Like, the man used to hit monster threes and then grab his back while waddling back on defense on the other end. It was crazy, but he was tough. And of course, he was a big-time player. Hit like 7 of 8 threes in the championship-clinching Game 5 versus the Thunder in 2012. Of course, he had the one-shoe 3 in Game 6 finals of 2013. Just a monster shot. I mean, the Heat were down like 7 with 10 minutes to go. He was a big-time player and certainly Heat culture. That's why he even went on to say at the end of the clip that Heat culture actually can help attract free agents.
I think it's a fair question, but I think it's flipped the other way. I think it's actually what attracts people. If you really want to win and you want to be a part of something, like going somewhere else in free agency or anything that you do, there's always unknowns. Yes. With the Heat, there's no unknowns.
Yes.
You know what the you're getting. You know what I mean? So if you're willing to listen and sit down and really want to focus in, listen, man, like I think it's not a negative effect. It's actually a positive thing. I think people look at it like that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
Because this is what I want, and there's a lot less unknowns.
There's been KD wanted to come. Dame wanted to come. There's been guys that have wanted to come, but there's a business side of it that gets in the way sometimes. But there have been guys that have given Miami attention and opened the doors to making a move to Miami. Now, the business side of it comes into play, and it just hasn't worked out. But guys have been wanting to come to play in the city of Miami. You know what I mean? And that's because they want to be a part of the culture, and the coach is winning. You know what I mean? So, for me, like you said, there's the other side of it is if the Heat culture is pushing you away, then you're probably not a worker anyway.
But as Mike and UD say in the video, it attracts the type of free agents that you want. Hard-nosed, gritty, defensive-minded guys who value winning above everything else. I think that describes Jimmy Butler, or at least it used to, but that's why he wanted to be here. I'd like to believe that it describes Giannis based off everything we've seen and heard about him. As we know, and as Udonis pointed out as well, KD has always had Miami on his list multiple times, and we know that's because he values winning over everything else. Otherwise, he would have never joined the Warriors, if he cared what people thought about him, but he doesn't. He just wants to win. And then, of course, you got Damian Lillard, who UD also mentions. And while Dame's game doesn't necessarily fit the idea of what Heat culture is, he's a guy that desperately wanted to win after all those pretty sorry seasons in Portland. So I do agree there's a certain type of superstar that does have interest in Miami. But the problem is, how many of those types of superstars are there actually out there? And honestly, I don't know. I can't say for certain exactly what a guy's work ethic is like behind the scenes. Of course, all of these stars work hard, but I think there's levels to this. I feel like Giannis has Heat culture makeup, but does Jokic? I mean, he doesn't even like basketball. All he wants to do is play with his horses. Although in this series versus OKC, we are seeing him get pretty mad because OKC is so good. Jokic had to kind of drop that whole I don't care about basketball stick because I really do think he cares. And by the way, I'm recording this video on Friday night, and that series is going to 7, which is going to be crazy. So I do think Jokic does care about basketball. But anyways, outside of him, because I don't really think he's ever leaving Denver, what about a guy like Luka Doncic? If Luka doesn't sign that extension with the Lakers, I think he'll be available. And I do think his relationship with Goran Dragic, and then obviously Goran's relationship with the Miami Heat, I do think that helps the Heat's case. But maybe Luka is dead set on not wanting to deal with Pat Riley. Of course, I would still take Luka Doncic, but would he be willing to put up with the grueling regimen associated with a Miami Heat training camp or practice? Haslam basically said that he doesn't care if a star is dissuaded from coming here due to Heat culture because that's not the kind of star that he wants anyways. Now, it's possible he would make an exception for a guy like Luka, but what about Trae Young? Ethan Skolnick has reported many times that there is no shot Miami would ever go after Trae Young because he's not Heat culture. And to me, that's not a good enough reason. Trae Young consistently leads a top 10 offense in the NBA every single year, and he would unlock Bam Adebayo's full potential. But what, the Heat aren't interested in him because he doesn't play defense? Neither does Tyler Hero. And the Heat still employ him. But regardless of what the Heat want, we do know that players have gotten tired of Pat Riley's act in the past. Remember that podcast with Dwyane Wade about a month ago where he told the story about LeBron's cookies?
This was the first moment where I had an inkling that LeBron may not be back. One thing you don't do is fuck with LeBron cookies. No. This is serious. Like, he loves chocolate chip cookies. And this one day, he was like, hey, where my cookies at? And they had to come up there and whisper in his ear and tell him there were no more cookies on the plane.
Yeah.
That motherfucker sat back away from the game. He pushed that car's back. He sat there quiet. It was too much micromanaging at that point. Like, you're talking about a team who's 4 finals in a row.
Right.
You don't need to micromanage us. And I felt that Rouse he went a little too far with his micromanaging at points like that. You a grown man. You don't take the cookies away from us. And this just seems small. Like, I got to have my comforts along the way, or I ain't going to be me. Rouse take all them comforts away when he hot.
Wade literally said that he had an inkling that LeBron might not be back because Pat Riley took his cookies. I mean, how insane is that? You have arguably the GOAT, and you take away his cookies? Pat also refused to give LeBron's friends special privileges, and I'm like, that's LeBron. He should get special privileges. The problem is, Pat Riley's ego was way too big. If you're watching this video, then you are an elite ball knower, so why not take advantage of it with MyBookie? Listen, y'all, throughout the NBA playoffs, I'll be using their live betting feature to smash the Davion Mitchell overs and smash the Rudy Gobert unders, and then using their early cash out option to stack up the profits. If you want to do the same, make sure to sign up for MyBookie using promo code MM50, which will instantly boost your first deposit. And then once the games wrap up, you can check out their casino, which has blackjack and slots and roulette. You name it, bet on anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. Now let's get back into the video. Even in this year's postseason presser where Pat Riley spoke, he said that the whole Jimmy situation didn't work out because Jimmy's an alpha, and Pat Riley said himself that he's an alpha too. And I'm just like, what? So because your ego is so big, you're never going to acquire another alpha because their personality might clash with yours? You're 80 and you're not on the team. I mean, he basically just said that they can't get another alpha because his ego is too big. I mean, it's a ridiculous statement. Even our guy Brendan Tobin, he actually asked Pat Riley in that same presser the idea of maybe stars being dissuaded because of Heat culture, and Pat Riley basically answered that by saying it is what it is. He said the culture still exists regardless of what happened last year and how bad the season ended and everything that happened with the Jimmy Butler situation. He said the culture is still there, and I disagree with him on that, which is really the other part of this. I mean, we're talking about all these NBA players avoiding the Heat culture when the reality is Heat culture is not even really a thing anymore. It used to mean something, but now it's a brand. It's a marketing scheme. I mean, did you watch the games this past season? In the very last game of the year, you had Miami get blown out, humiliated, embarrassed by 55 points at home in an elimination game. That team was filled with Davion Mitchell and a bunch of quitters. That's not Heat culture. So for better and for worse, I do think that Pat Riley has softened up a bit in his older age. I mean, think about the infamous body test. As recent as a guy like James Johnson, the Heat were still enforcing that. They were still taking that seriously because I remember as a captain, James Johnson was suspended because he didn't pass the body fat test. Now, compare that to Kyle Lowry, who he never got suspended, but there's no way in hell he was passing those body fat tests. So I don't really have a definitive answer of whether Heat culture is deterring free agents or if players are tired of Pat Riley. But what I do know is that Pat Riley's old school negotiation tactics gotta go. And I also do get a lot of old heads in my comments. I appreciate you OGs. Thank you unks for tuning in. And they always tell me anytime I'm critical of Pat Riley, oh, you disrespect Pat too much. He's the godfather. You have no idea what he did for this organization. And let me be very clear. I completely understand and respect Pat Riley for everything he's done here. I mean, the Miami Heat would not have any championships without him and what he built there. Like, he literally built this team. They were nothing before he got here. And for that, I will always respect the hell out of Pat Riley and love everything that he did for this team. But 80 years old is 80 years old. I don't feel like me saying an 80-year-old has to retire is being disrespectful. I think that's common sense. Old school is old school, and it doesn't work anymore. If Pat still thinks that he can lowball the Trailblazers to get Dame, that doesn't work anymore. His ego got in the way, and his aura isn't what it used to be anymore. He can't just throw a bag of rings on the table like he did with Ray Allen and expect a player to sign with you. They want special privileges. They want other star teammates from an owner who's willing to spend, and they want money above all else. And then after all of that is their desire to win. But without all that other stuff, a history of winning does not mean as much anymore to other NBA players. But that's all I got to say for this video. Let me know all y'all thoughts down below. Do you think players are tired of Pat Riley? Do you believe the Scoop B report? I'm very curious to hear what y'all think. Also, make sure to like and subscribe because I'm on the grind to hit 8,000 subs, and the support is greatly appreciated. That being said, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out, everyone.
Look, pull up in your city, tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.